This very well packaged parcel from China contains a box with the brand name Bigme. If you follow my channel, I have reviewed a few products from this company, and they specialize in devices that have an e-ink screen. So they have e-ink tablets, e-ink readers, e-ink computers, and e-ink phones. However, they also manufacture accessories, and in this case, it's a bundle of wireless microphones and a foldable keyboard. Let's start with the microphones because, as you might have guessed, I'm using one of them to record this video right now. That's why you may notice a difference in audio quality compared to my regular videos. This is a lavalier microphone set consisting of two clip-on microphones and a single receiver. Each mic has its own battery and connects to the receiver via a proprietary protocol, so this is not Bluetooth. That's great because Bluetooth often degrades audio quality due to the protocol limitations. The cons are these mics won't work without the receiver, but the receiver ensures stable, high-quality sound transmission. You will also get up to 50 meters of range with as little as 25 milliseconds of latency, which is more than acceptable. You may be wondering why two microphones. First of all, the second can act as a backup. If one of the microphones runs out of battery, you have a spare ready to go. That said, the microphone should last you about 6 hours on a single charge. The microphones do have a USB port for charging, however, when the power adapter is connected, the microphones stop working, so you cannot use the microphones while charging them. They also have a 3-point connector. Supposedly there are some kind of charging cradles for these microphones, however I don't have one. Also, dual microphones are very convenient when you try to record two audio sources. For example, you are doing an interview and you have one microphone for yourself and the other one for the person you are interviewing. The microphones are attached using a clip, so you can clip them on your clothes the normal way. However, you may also get creative and attach them to a pair of headphones, for example, converting the headphones into a headset. The build quality is solid, they are very lightweight and compact. Each mic has a single button and a LED indicator. Red light means charging, green light means working, and blue light means noise reduction off. So yes, there is built-in noise cancellation. However, throughout this recording, I have the built-in noise cancellation switched off. Now I will turn it on for a second so you can hear for yourself if the noise cancellation actually does a decent job. So now I have the noise cancellation switched on and I am talking to the same microphone from the same distance, and you can hear the difference in sound. Personally, I don't like the sound of this microphone with the noise cancellation on. Without noise cancellation, I will switch it off again. The sound sounds much better, however there is too much noise, and this noise actually comes from the electronics of the microphones. It's not the ambient noise. This noise doesn't come from the power source which the receiver is connected to, and you can connect the receiver to practically any device that has a Type-C connection. And even if the device doesn't have a Type-C connection, but does have some sort of USB connection, you will still be able to use it provided that you use an appropriate adapter, which is not included in the bundle. So you will need to use your own adapter. So I tried connecting the receiver to a wall-plugged computer, to a battery-powered laptop, and to a battery-powered smartphone, and in all cases, there is quite a high level of background noise that comes from the electronics of either the receiver or the microphones themselves, or both. The microphones also don't seem to have a built-in windscreen, so you will definitely want to use some, especially if you plan to use them outside. Again, the windscreen is not included, and when you shop for one, you have to be a little bit careful since the windscreen may come in the way of the clip, making it a little bit harder to clip the mic on your clothes, for example. But since the windscreens are usually soft foam, that's a minor inconvenience. The receiver also has a pass-through Type-C port, so when you're using it with a smartphone, for example, you can still connect a charging cable to the receiver so the phone will still receive power. So now I'm banging on a mechanical keyboard while speaking into the microphone, so you can see or hear for yourself how much of the keyboard noise versus my voice the microphone is picking up. Now I will do the same thing, but with noise reduction activated, so you can also hear for yourself if the noise reduction does any difference to the quality of the sound that is being picked up by this microphone. As for the usability of this microphone, I have a few complaints here. The first one, on a computer, the receiver is detected under a generic device name, USB Audio 1.0 in this case, which might be a problem if you have several USB audio devices and you want to distinguish them. I would prefer if it was using its actual name, Bigme something. Another thing, as I said, the microphones are charged using USB Type-C, however they stop working while they are being charged. And unfortunately, they are not detected as USB audio devices. So the microphones only use the USB Type-C port for charging. You cannot use them as a wired microphone. And you also cannot use them as a stereo pair of microphones, since both mics record on the same track or the same audio on a stereo track when you are using it in your recording software. I would prefer them to be stereo. First of all, it allows you to capture stereo sound, and there is another use case if you are picking from two sources with different volume. For example, you are trying to pick up two instruments, or you are trying to record an interview with two people and one of the persons speaks louder than the other. If the microphones were recording to separate tracks, for example, one of the microphones records to the left track and the other records to the right track, it would be very easy to boost one of the tracks to normalize the overall recording volume. It's not possible here since the microphones record in mono on the same track on top of each other. You do get the sound from both sources, however you cannot edit each of the source individually. Anyway, even though the sound quality is not perfect, it's much better than a headset, for example, and it's quite usable for a variety of applications, mostly interviews, podcasts, and things like that, especially if you do apply some noise reduction in post. Now let's move on to the second item in this bundle, which is a foldable Bluetooth keyboard. I have quite a few portable keyboards actually. Two of them are non-foldable. They also have a touchpad and they are used to convert tablets into makeshift laptops. One of them is wired and it is also manufactured by Bigme. This is an accessory for one of their tablets. It connects to the device via pogo pins. The other one is a rechargeable Bluetooth keyboard and it also has a touchpad. Both of these keyboards are 6-row, so they have a dedicated row for function keys. However, obviously, as they are not foldable, they will occupy much more space in your bag. So it's better to compare this Bigme foldable keyboard to another Bluetooth foldable keyboard I have. This one is a trifold, so it folds in 3 pieces, while the Bigme only has 2 halves. That said, the keyboards are very similar in size. Also notice that my old keyboard uses micro USB for charging, while the Bigme uses Type-C, which is a much more modern interface. However, the 3-piece one also has a touchpad, while the Bigme one doesn't have one, even though there is some space where it could be potentially fit. But anyway, they didn't include the touchpad, so apparently you are supposed to use your device touchscreen for mouse inputs. Other than that, the keyboards are very similar. They both are Bluetooth only, they don't have a wired mode, and the onboard USB is only used to charge the internal battery. The Bigme keyboard should last about 40 hours on a single charge, and you can continue to use it while charging. The connection will still be through Bluetooth, not a wired mode, but you can charge it while you use it. Both of these keyboards have scissor type keys. This is the same technology you will find on most low-profile laptops. And also both of these keyboards are 5-row keyboards, so they don't have a dedicated row for functional keys. It's not very convenient for me, since I use those keys a lot. However, since these keyboards are designed mostly for tablets and phones, they decided to make them smaller by stripping the F row to save some space. And also these foldable keyboards require to be used on a flat surface. It will be very difficult to use them on your lap. Typing feels comfortable, key travel is nice, and they do not feel too mushy. One downside of other keyboards I own is that some keys, especially in the middle, do not always register presses. Thankfully, this Bigme one doesn't have this issue. If you're using multiple input languages or keyboard layouts, and you connect this keyboard to an Android device and you use Gboard, which is Google Keyboard, you may be misled by the hotkeys cheat sheet of Gboard. The cheat sheet says that to switch an input language, you need to hold the looking glass button and press space. However, this keyboard doesn't have a dedicated looking glass button. You will need to press Fn and then one of the buttons to access the looking glass feature, which is search feature, I suppose. So in reality, to switch a language on this keyboard, you need to hold Shift and space, at least when you're using Gboard. That's how you switch languages back and forth. Even though this keyboard is comfortable to use, my biggest con is that it doesn't have a wired mode, because very often I need to use a keyboard while the operating system hasn't booted yet, since you can only use Bluetooth in the operating system. If the operating system is not booted yet, and you are still in BIOS, for example, usually only wired keyboards are supported, and this keyboard doesn't have this wired mode, unfortunately. So overall, both devices are solid, budget-friendly options. The wireless microphones are especially useful for content creators, while the foldable keyboard is great for travel or tablet users who need a physical keyboard. If you want to purchase this bundle, you will find a link in the description below.
I am the god of YouTube! Like, subscribe, jingle bells.